Good afternoon. Welcome to Reel. I'm Nathan.
And I'm Abram, and whoa. Who is that over there?
I don't know what you're talking about. Anyways, today we are covering...
No. I'm being serious. Who is that? They're just staring and smiling at me.
Oh, I get it. Just like Sky Riley, you're hallucinating, right?
No. I'm not pretending. I'm being serious. Why don't you believe me?
Yeah. Like I was saying, today we're covering Smile 2, written and directed by Parker Finn. We'll get more into that, though, after the trailer.
I need you to listen to me. Something really bad happened. You remember Louis Fergoli from high school? I went to his apartment, but when I showed up... Louis?
No, get away from me! What?
He was smiling at me.
Ladies and gentlemen, Sky Riley, you are in the middle of a big world tour. You okay?
I keep seeing this face everywhere.
This thing is a parasite. You witnessed a death. Now it's latched onto you.
911, what's your emergency?
I've traced the string of deaths to you. Nobody has survived longer than a week.
Sky, pull it together and get back out there.
No, I will not let this thing use me.
How do we stop it?
We need to kill you first.
What? We have to end it. No matter what. You're not in control. I am.
I need to stop it, but I don't know how.
Smile 2 is about a woman by the name of Sky Riley, a famous pop star who is a recovering drug addict in an increasingly stressful work life.
After a tragic accident that killed her boyfriend and scarred her, both mind and body, Sky takes to opioids to reduce the pain which she normally gets from her old drug dealer, Louis Fergoli.
During a visit to Louis for Vicodin, she notices him acting erratic and stressed, only to later find herself at the mercy of the demon that was haunting him, after it forces him to bludgeon his own face in so that it can infect her as a new host.
Riley goes on to attempt getting rid of the entity, all the while juggling her disbelief in its existence and her difficult career path. She eventually finds a man named Morris, who claims he can help her get rid of the demon at the cost of killing her, to which she reluctantly agrees to after some time being haunted.
After she goes through some torment with Morris's process, it turns out it was all an illusion and she had been on the stage the whole time, leading the demon to take over and end Sky's life, possibly infecting the audience with the brandished smile.
Now, let's take an insider look at the movie and really get a feel for the tense atmosphere it brought to the big screen.
I'm Parker Finn. I'm the writer, director, and producer of Smile 2.
That's a pretty cool shirt you got. Want me to sign it?
I knew that if I was going to approach a sequel, I needed to find a character that I could find something thematic to explore there. The trick to unlocking it was discovering the character of Sky Riley.
Ladies and gentlemen, Sky Riley.
Sky is this famous star who is surrounded by people, and yet she's incredibly alone. It's a frightening situation for anybody to be in. In the Smile movies, the entity is passed from victim to victim by forcing them to end their own life in front of a witness. And that witness becomes the next victim. It gets into the cracks of their brain, and I really wanted to find new ways to trick both Sky and the audience.
Stop smiling at me!
What I love about Parker is how confident the filmmaker.
The release of Smile 2, an official Sky Riley Spotify account was made, and it has just under 500,000 listeners.
Oh, cool. So they actually made it under the name Sky Riley. By the way, Abram, did you know that Parker Finn, the writer and director of both films, intentionally left the creature's story ambiguous? He basically didn't want to reveal anything about it, even in the sequel.
Yeah, I think I read somewhere that he already has a good idea of what he wants to do for a third movie. Speaking of a third movie, though, I'm almost 100% sure there will be a third one. With a budget of $28 million, the movie grossed over $110 million worldwide.
Wow, that is a lot less than the first film, but it still is admirable. Did you know that this is actually Naomi Scott's first time acting in a horror movie? Before this, I'd say her most notable roles were Jasmine in the live-action Aladdin, the Pink Ranger in Power Rangers, and as Elena Hewlin in Charlie's Angels.
Originally, the lead role was supposed to be Kyle Gallner's character from the first film, because Parker Finn liked working with him so much, I guess. Ultimately, he decided against this in favor of starting off Smile 2 by putting the viewer in an intense, action-packed opening scene.
Well, in the essence of time, we need to move on. But first, let's take a look at our commercial.
Hi, this is Peter, and he's in the animation program. I got to experience everything, and I just signed up to do animation. The on-set experience was something that I wasn't expecting, but I'm very grateful for. Amazing instructors, John, Rich, and for me, Todd and Nolan.
I'll put my glasses on the floor.
This is Abram. He does stuff.
Right now we could get a waterfall. So I've always really been interested in video editing and video production. Ended up coming here to Hennepin Tech to learn more and expand my repertoire. There's definitely a side of a social side to it. I'm going to be upfront and honest right now. I went to see this movie without seeing the first one beforehand. I went into the theater with absolutely no expectations, and I can say without a doubt in my mind that this movie was absolutely amazing. I enjoyed it so much that when the movie ended, I drove home immediately and watched the first one. The second being significantly better than the first, I still enjoyed it a bunch. As someone who thinks that the horror genre has become incredibly bland and boring compared to the older horror movies coming out in the 80s and 90s, I think that Smile 2 and the Smile franchise as a whole is a step in a good direction. I pride myself on being able to predict almost every horror movie I watch, and I couldn't have guessed what was going to happen next from a mile away. Maybe that has something to do with the fact that I hadn't seen the first movie, but I don't care. More specifically, though, Naomi Scott's character, Sky Riley, was an incredible performance. She plays her role perfectly, and she did an excellent job at showing the viewer her deteriorating mental state. I also really loved the music in the movie. It truly reminds me of older performers like Lady Gaga or Sia from the early 2010s. And the gore, I just couldn't get enough of it. The only complaint, though, that I have of this movie is its overuse of upside-down landscape shots. I thought there was way too many, and after watching the first movie afterwards, it became very prevalent how overused they were. Despite my very specific gripes, though, Smile 2 was a mind-boggling roller coaster of sensory overloading that was an absolute blast to watch. Because of this, I'm going to give Smile 2 5 out of 5 reels. What are your thoughts, Nathan?
Well, that was certainly enthusiastic. I have a total opposite feeling about this whole movie, though. When I first sat down to watch Smile 2, I had high hopes that it would build on the eerie atmosphere and psychological tension of the original. Unfortunately, while the film had its moments, it often fell back on predictable horror tropes for the series. I found myself disappointed as scenes that could have been truly chilling turned into shallow frights or foreseen jump scares. The original had an unsettling, creeping horror that was fresh feeling, although it had similarities to Would You Rather, another horror film that we will not be covering today. One of the biggest issues was the character development for side characters, or lack thereof. Smile 2 introduces a brand new cast, but they lack the depth and even basic motivations sometimes. It was hard to empathize with people like the mom or girlfriend when they were blatantly unlikable or had no real reason to be there, with many acts being an I bet they'll be dead soon kind of experience. Then there's the pacing, which was an uneven and pretty slow experience. Normally, a slower pace works wonders for tension building, but on occasion, it seemed to drag in places where it shouldn't, and with the somewhat confusing time jumps and illusions, as well as relaying to the main character's trauma constantly, the film felt more like a loosely connected stitch job of mangled film reels and script parts. The best example I can give is the opening scene that still doesn't really make any sense to me, and it felt like it came from a completely different movie as it didn't connect with the rest of the story. I found myself bored in a few moments that should have been nerve-wracking, and the ending was just disappointing. But with the negative out of the way, I admit it wasn't bad. The visuals were far better than the original, along with the sound design and camera work. Watching Sky Riley tear herself apart literally, the car light jump scare, and a horde of smiling faces rushing at the screen was just a freezing of excitement. I learned that word 3 days ago. The acting was good for the most part, save for very few stiff or overdone performances, giving us a taste of anguish and fear from our beloved cast that felt desperate and hopeless as horror should. In the end, Smile 2 was an okay storyline all around, and for these reasons, I'm thinking of giving this film a Okay, well, actually, in this feeling and spirit of being antagonistic, I'm actually just going to give this a 1 out of 5 reels, because, I don't want to be like this guy. Yeah. Sorry, that movie was just not great. Oh. I think I heard something. Anyway.
Well, wait, you told me you liked the movie, though. Anyways.
Yeah, well.
Well, that sure was something. If you enjoyed our review, maybe go over to our YouTube page and give us a like and even subscribe to see more content like this.
Speaking of content, you can also find our Facebook page and follow us there with similar, if not downright copy-pasted content.
And leave a comment on our show. Tell us if you liked the review, your opinions on the movie, or who you agree with.
We appreciate you stopping by. And until next time, I'm Nathan.
And I'm Abram.
This is Real to Real.